buildings and neighborhood fabric that make Providence unique. Our plan legalizes accessory dwelling units like the one behind us now by right. It allows for various types of missing middle type housing. It expands areas where small apartment buildings are permitted, addresses our housing shortage head on, while expanding historic preservation efforts and establishing new design standards. These changes are designed to alleviate the market pressures and ensure that individuals and families at every income level can secure a safe, high-quality home right here in Providence. And while addressing housing is essential, our vision for Providence goes beyond that. Our success will depend on how well we leverage our unique strengths, the arts, design, life sciences, healthcare, and green industries, while adapting to changing times. Shifting retail trends, evolving workspaces, and emerging technologies require us to be both resilient and forward-thinking. This comprehensive plan provides the framework to meet those challenges head-on as well. We all know that Providence is facing climate challenges, as we witness firsthand the impacts. Just last summer, most of us will recall, we were having some of the greatest flooding in our lifetime. This year, a year later, for the first time in decades, we have wildfires in the city of Providence. That's what climate change looks like. Extremes at both ends. And we're seeing it happen in real time. This plan addresses some of the steps that we can take. It's a call to action, urging us to protect our city, our people, and our cultural treasures from these growing threats. The sustainability chapter in particular outlines crucial steps to protect our environment and promote public health. By advocating for cleaner industrial practices, supporting air quality monitoring, and prioritizing resources for frontline neighborhoods, the plan underscores our commitment to environmentally responsible and just growth. We've also ensured that in this plan that Providence becomes a more accessible city by making it safer and more convenient to move around Providence by alternative modes of transportation. I see leadership here from the AARP. It's important to us that we make this a city that's accessible for those with mobility challenges, for older residents, and indeed for everyone. By promoting equitable economic development and job creation, by supporting and preserving cultural assets that celebrate Providence's diversity, together we have developed a plan that is certain to improve the quality of life, prosperity, and comfort for all of our community. The success upon this comprehensive plan depends on all of us here today. As I mentioned earlier, I want to give special recognition and deep gratitude to our Deputy Director of Planning, Bob Azar. We can give Bob a round of applause. And his partner in crime, our Community Planning Manager, Tim Shea. Clearly a fan favorite. These two individuals, along with an entire team of professionals in the city, spearheaded this work. Community meetings, how many, Tim? Over 90, but who's counting? Over 90 community meetings spanning multiple years. Our city council leaders who are here with us today, we've also been joined by Councilman Vargas. Thank you for joining us. They hosted their own community meetings. They came to our community meetings, neighborhood associations. There has never been more community engagement than in this comprehensive plan, and that is why we are so excited that not only is it an excellent plan, but that it will be embraced and it will be used. I want to thank City Plan Commission Chairman Michael Gazdaco because the next steps fall somewhat on him. I want to welcome a couple other folks who are here today who have been a big part of this. I mentioned Catherine Taylor from AARP, Dominique from the Central Providence Health Equity Zone, Helen Baskerville-Dukes from Mount Hope Community Center, Brenda Clement and Melina Lodge from Housing Works and the Housing Network, local developers including Seth Zarin and Michelle Blau, advocates from the Providence Urbanist Network and the Streets Coalition. Their efforts, combined with the individual input of thousands of community members, have resulted in a plan that is reflective of a shared vision for a vibrant, equitable, and resilient Providence. The signing of this historic comprehensive plan is not just ceremonial. Today, we reaffirm our commitment to collaboration, progress, and action. Together, we will ensure that Providence remains a city of opportunity, creativity, and promise for generations to come. Thank you. I would now like to welcome to the podium Council President Rachel Miller, the City Council has made one of their hallmarks, this City Council has made one of their hallmarks, public access and transparency. With multiple public hearings in addition to all the community engagement, while there were negotiations behind the scene, I can say clearly that this is a better plan as a result of the compromises and agreements that we made. I'm so grateful for her partnership and for the City Council more broadly for embracing this plan with us together, and would invite Rachel to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Smiley, and welcome everyone. Thank you to my colleagues who are joining us today. Really welcome to everyone. This is a huge day for the City of Providence. We are celebrating a comprehensive plan that was shaped by thousands of voices, right, guided by the experience of city residents and driven by the urgent needs to meet the challenges our city faces. We heard over 90 community meetings. We had meetings in all 15 wards, 5 public hearings, over 200 letters just through the public hearing process alone. The plan we're solidifying today is so rooted in the voices and collaboration and needs of our residents. I also want to add my thanks to Bob Azar and Tim Shea. You have created the path to have more input in any comprehensive plan by far in the City of Providence, so thank you. And I am especially excited that we're here today in Ward 13 with the West Broadway Neighborhood Association. So not only is the remodeled ADU behind us a kind of picture of what could come and could make a very strong impact, this neighborhood came out for the comprehensive plan input, right? We had like hundreds and I would say nearly 1,000 residents participated either online or in community meetings, in large part because of the way that the West Broadway neighborhood led with a vision that said, yeah, we do. We need more housing. We need more access. We need more street-friendly, vibrant community corridors. So thank you, WBNA, and everyone across the city who participated. Throughout the entire comprehensive plan process, right, the call from our neighborhoods was clear. Providence needs a 10-year vision that reflects these voices, the voices, the struggles, the aspirations of working people who make Providence a wonderful place. And thanks to the collaboration between each council member and Mayor Smiley, this plan truly does that. It's a plan for families who are worried about making rent each month, for young people who have concerns about being priced out of the neighborhoods they grew up in, for new immigrants who want to build prosperous futures for their children, for communities who have been suffocated for decades by pollution and environmental hazards, for union and community members and all workers in the City of Providence, for people who rely on public transit and want more places to feel confident and safe as they walk and ride, and for everyone that calls Providence home. The plan is bold because it has to be, right? Our city has seen the highest rent increases in the country, with housing costs untenable for residents across all income brackets. Our state has the highest asthma rates nationwide for childhood asthma. Our number of unhoused residents has grown year after year. And Providence is growing, and we are all here to celebrate that growth, but we're also here to celebrate a plan that makes sure that everyone gets to grow alongside with Providence. This plan meets this moment with action and people-first solutions to address the issues facing and impacting city residents. Everyone in Providence deserves a safe and stable place to call home. This plan will help us get there. One of the most transformative elements of the plan is the use of inclusionary zoning, which creates affordability alongside market rate units, which can create vibrant mixed income developments across the city. I want to thank Mayor Smiley, especially for all parts of the plan, but especially for working with the council to include language on inclusionary zoning. If we're serious about stopping the cycle of displacement, and I know we are, we have to work together to make affordability the rule and not the exception. To clear the way for smarter growth, we've also set a course to reduce and eliminate parking minimums where it makes sense, where it's reasonable, and where it will help foster increased growth and development. We've made a commitment in this plan to protect and advocate for unhoused residents with humanity and care, not neglect or unnecessary punishment. And we've put environmental justice front and center. So from challenging polluting industries that have endangered Southside residents, to embedding climate resilience into the fabric of all city projects. And we recognize that there's more work to be done here, right? We've heard loud and clear from advocates demanding bolder action at the port for cleaner air, public health, and a future that's sustainable for all of us, and they're right. As we move forward with updating the zoning ordinance and working with the CPC and what will come before council, we'll be working with everyone impacted, right? With residents, with businesses, with workers, with all partners together to get very specific about how we can ensure new businesses at the port are clean, are green, are providing excellent career opportunities for city residents, and to ensure that the city is doing its part to turn around decades of environmental racism and move towards transformative change, not just at the port, but citywide. It's a plan that envisions a Providence where working families can thrive, where our young people can build their futures, and where our communities, the heart of what makes Providence such an incredible city to live, grows stronger and grows together. The plan is a vision for a city that fights for its people. So thank you, Mayor Smiley. Thank you for investing in this work together. I know that we both know that the work doesn't stop here, and now we need to work together with everyone who's here today and many people who aren't to make this vision a reality. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam President. Next, I'd like to invite up to the podium the Chair of the City Plan Commission, Michael Gazdaco. We depend in many aspects of city life on talented, dedicated volunteers. Volunteers who spend their time because they care about their community for no pay, after hours, and sometimes long meetings. And chairing the CPC for many years now is Michael Gazdaco, who helped bring us to this process today, and I want to thank him for his incredible hard work. And for his birthday yesterday, we've given him a comprehensive plan.
Hello everyone, I am Michael Gazdaco, the Chair of the City Plan Commission. The City Plan Commission serves as a steward of Providence's future, ensuring that our development and growth align with the vision, values, and needs of our community. Our primary responsibility in reviewing the comprehensive plan is to guarantee it reflects a balanced approach to growth, economic development, environmental sustainability, equity, and cultural preservation. For the next 10 years, this comprehensive plan will shape our decisions on land use, transportation, housing, and economic initiatives directly impacting the quality of life for all Providence residents. As a commission, we prioritize transparency and welcome input from residents, businesses, and stakeholders. Public engagement is essential to ensuring the plan resonates with the diverse needs of Providence. I want to give out a big shout out to the planning staff. I'm not the first, I won't be the last, I'm sure. Tim Shea, who held so many well-organized meetings. I attended quite a few, and they were very impressive. The focus grew from stage to stage based on community input, and that had been gathered at the previous stages. So thank you, Tim. He deserves a round of applause every time. We've also worked closely with city staff this year to review public feedback and integrate it meaningfully into the plan. I've heard from most people, now that the plan is in final form, that they like the plan a lot, but some say it didn't go far enough here. Others say that it went too far there. No one once has told me that there wasn't a time or a way to get involved or be heard. So that is something to be proud of. But my thought in this is that if no one got everything they wanted, but they can live with this plan, I think that's a pretty good, fair plan that we could publish today. Our role as commissioners is to critically assess the comprehensive plan to ensure it aligns with state and local regulations, while also being ambitious in addressing the city's challenges and opportunities. We review data, proposals, and projections to ensure that the plan is both visionary and realistic, guiding sustainable growth for the city. As a body, we hold the responsibility of approving the comprehensive plan and ensuring that it's an actionable framework that will guide local decisions over the next decade. But no sooner have we gotten through this Herculean effort, the next significant lift needs to occur, crafting the zoning laws that will be in compliance with this document and will outline and guide the development over the next decade. The CPC's work on the comprehensive plan reflects our commitment to creating a Providence that thrives for all of its residents, for today and for generations to come. This is a collaborative effort that depends on the dedication of our volunteer city plan commissioners. There are a few here today, so let's give them a round of applause. Here in Providence, we are incredibly fortunate to continue this work with the partnership of Mayor Smiley and the Providence Department of Planning and Development, who have been exemplary leaders in developing thoughtful, inclusive, and robust civic engagement throughout this process. Now, there's not enough I can say about Deputy Director Bob Azar. In my mind, he is one of the best land use professionals in this state, and we are lucky to have him. I know that like everything else that he touches, we are in a better place with this plan because of his intimate involvement. Thank you to Director Joe Mulligan for his guidance and leadership. Thank you to Alexis Thompson, our zoning official, with deep knowledge and sage advice at the ready. Megan DeSanto and Sharon Garner in the law department, always keeping us in our lane, or at least trying to. And the countless others that worked on this in one way or another. There are too many to name. When we started this process, we knew it would be a transformational plan, one that was ambitious and geared toward producing more housing, allowing development guidelines to be more predictable, and overall aligning with the time we find ourselves in. We couldn't have asked for a better leader in Mayor Smiley when it came to this. He actually read and commented on each draft that were produced. He supported us when we had bold ideas, and he was pragmatic when we needed to ensure that we had a document that actually worked for our city. Thank you, Mayor, for your thoughtfulness and attention in this process. And thank you to the City Council President, Rachel Miller, who shepherded this through the City Council and allowed further dialogue and discussion that led to the plan that we have here today. There were more meetings than I thought would occur after so many public meetings had already been held, and I think I agree with everyone here that it's a better document having had them. It feels appropriate that the plan was approved yesterday. Yesterday happened to be my birthday, and to be honest, after the amount of time and effort we've all spent on this, I feel this is one of the best presents I could ask for it to all be a final day for us to be here today and celebrate it. Thank you all again. It's been a pleasure to work with you all on this.
Thank you, Michael. Next, I'd like to invite our host for today, the Executive Director of the WBNA, Siobhan Callahan. Siobhan, as Rachel pointed out, has led arguably the most active neighborhood association, certainly through this process, and gives us the centerpiece for what an example is of what we hope to do throughout the city. Siobhan?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the Mayor, to the City Council, and to the Planning Department for including us today. We're so pleased to have you all here in front of Providence's first official city-sanctioned accessory dwelling unit, or ADU. This project dates back to the pandemic days when my predecessor, Kari Lang, began laying the groundwork for transforming what was a dilapidated and unused garage into both an affordable and an accessible ADU. Back then, we needed a dimensional variance to make this happen, but now it is easier than ever to get started, and that's what we do. WBNA has a long history of demonstration projects that became part of something bigger, and our hope is that this too will be a model for others to replicate. WBNA also has a long history of leading or being involved in engagement around quality of life issues faced by our neighbors and residents citywide. And so when the Planning Department made it clear they wanted input from as many residents as possible regarding the comprehensive plan, we jumped into gear. We put together a survey and held outreach events to help people understand the importance of the plan, because we knew that if we gathered it, that input would be taken seriously by the Planning Department team. The political moment in which we now find ourselves speaks to how important it is to really lean into local engagement, and the work that went into this plan is a great example of that. The Planning Department, Bob Azar and Tim Shea, in particular, did an enormous amount of outreach throughout the city to gather this feedback, and I think the process reflects the importance and effectiveness of building trust within our communities. Celebrating all the work that made today possible is just the beginning of a process, not the end, and we are eager to continue to work together with all of you to achieve the things that our neighbors said they want in our city. Things like lower housing costs, more green space, and infrastructure that supports pedestrians and bicyclists. So again, thank you for this opportunity to show off our ADU and celebrate the process.
Thank you, Siobhan. And then our last speaker today is the man whose head has gotten a little bit bigger over the last 5 minutes, a real celebrity for his hard work on this. I hope the cameras zoom in on Bob's tie because it is on point today. Bob only wears this tie when he finishes a new comprehensive plan, so he can tell you how many times he's worn the tie. Bob?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Actually, this is the first time I wore the tie. My wife got this for me not too long ago, and I was just looking for the right occasion to wear it. But this is actually the third time I've been part of developing a new comprehensive plan for the city. I can say that this has been by far the most robust, inclusive, and rewarding planning process yet. In a city as wonderfully diverse as Providence, creating a community-wide plan is a challenging undertaking. The process can only be successful if there's a sincere approach to community engagement. It's a process where we planners bring our expertise to the table, but we also listen to and learn from the many stakeholders that have an interest in making our great city a better place. We have to somehow find consensus around policies to tackle our greatest challenges. In seeking that consensus, we run the risk of sacrificing ambition, but that's not the case here. This plan is full of big and bold ideas and points toward a bright future for Providence. A sincere thank you to all from the public who participated in this process. Every voice was heard, and in one way or another is represented in this plan. I want to thank the planning and zoning staff, many of whom are here, and every one of whom participated in this effort on top of their day-to-day duties. Planning Director Joe Mulligan, who couldn't be with us today, Jess Lance, Dave Everett, Alex Ellis, Chris Martin, Rye Dickerson, Ian Collins, Chris Issei, Jason Martin, Choyan Mandrakar, Lev Simon, Darcy Charlson, Evelyn Alcantara, Darlo Duarte, Manoj Shrestha, and Nick Ciccatelli, Aaron Bradley, and Alexis Thompson. A special thanks to Tim Shea. Once again, give it up for Tim. Tim got us into every neighborhood and ward in the city. He was tireless in soliciting and synthesizing the thousands of comments we received. Providence is fortunate to have such an incredibly talented and dedicated team. So please, thank you, and give it up for the planning and zoning staff. Other departments whose participation was invaluable includes Parks, Art, Culture and Tourism, Economic Development, Housing and Human Services, Inspection and Standards, and the Law Department, Public Works, and Sustainability. Thank you all. A special thanks to the City Plan Commission. These volunteers spent hours working with us as thought partners and sounding boards and patiently listening to hours of public testimony. Chairman Michael Gazdaco was a great facilitator of the public process and helped guide us in the creation of the plan. Michael, I'm grateful for your leadership and support. I also want to recognize Noel Sanchez here and Will Sherry, also commissioners. I don't know if there's any other commissioners, but thanks to all the city plan commissioners. Thanks to the City Council, especially to Council President Miller, for her leadership, and Chairman Espinal for expertly taking us through a challenging but ultimately successful hearing process. Thanks to the council staff, Erin Easter Gardner and June Rose, for their partnership. And while Michael got an approved comp plan for his birthday, thanks to 5 public hearings, I got an ordinance committee approval on my birthday. Thanks to Courtney Hawkins, Emily Crowell, and Mike Napolitano in the mayor's office for their good counsel. And finally, thanks to Mayor Smiley for reading every word of every draft we sent his way and for his perceptive comments and collaboration. Every mayor is an urban planner, whether they know it or not. This mayor comprehended that from day one, and it's been a special privilege to work for someone who understands our work so well and appreciates just how important it is. Mayor, by signing this ordinance, you're declaring that this plan belongs to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Congratulations. Okay, so we're going to go to the table and make it official. I'll invite folks to stand behind me as we do so. I'll then come back to the podium. We'll take questions on the comp plan. Comp plan first. I know there's some other news going on in the world today. So after we handle all the comp plan questions, then I'll stick around, council people as well, to answer any other questions. All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, just come. Tim, come on this side.
Tim, come on.
Right here.
No, that's all right. No, you please.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Probably get in.
There we go. Now we're in.
No, it won't be that long. You know that. Thank you for all your work, Councilman. Yeah, exactly.
Chair.
All right. More work to come. Yes, I know. How do I? Monday we're right back. All right. Yeah,
All right, are there any comp plan questions? Excellent. All right. I will be right there.
Grab your microphone. This is where we say we appreciate the process. Yep. Thank you so much.
I just felt like your markers were very comprehensive.
Thank you. That's so kind.
So
They were that good. Right. Exactly.
I'll go first. Mayor Smiley, as you mentioned, there is other news happening today. Finally, there's disclosure on the settlement. What are your thoughts? Give us an outline of where you think the city has to go.
So I'm happy and relieved to report that there is now a settlement and that the long-standing funding fight between the Providence Public School District and the City of Providence has been resolved. Most importantly, the students of Providence, their parents, the teachers in the school system can now have certainty and hopefully no anxiety that the threatened cuts won't go through. The taxpayers of Providence should have some relief knowing that there will not be a mid-year tax increase. And we now have predictability and additional transparency into the school department's budget for the years to come. This funding fight, which predated me, has been going on since 2019, has been a major hurdle for us being able to work together in a collaborative and cooperative fashion. And I'm hopeful that now that it's resolved, and resolved 2 years going into the future, that we can now all focus on the task at hand, which is delivering better results for the students of Providence, raising student outcomes, and having a school system that works better for all of our kids and families.
for the $15 million, that's that more immediate payment. Have you figured out how the city exactly is going to make that payment?
Yes, roughly. So the $15 million, which is a combination of $4 million for fiscal 24, which was last year, and $11 million for fiscal 25, which is the year that we're in now, we will be taking all remaining available ARPA dollars and committing that to revenue recovery because we will need that now. We have $3 million in energy credits, which will be able to be applied and counted towards the $15 million. We also, as had been reported and offered a couple weeks ago, we had $1 million in additional pilot revenue, new revenue that came in after the budget was passed. And then we expect to still have to find budget savings. So as I announced earlier in the week, this hiring freeze that was announced will stay in effect through the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th. in addition to the non-essential spending freeze, which was announced. That will stay in effect through the end of the budget year. What that means is that the other cuts that we were afraid we might have to make if the worst had happened in court. Remember, what was proposed in court was between $11 and $55 million. So we settled at 15, and so we will not have to delay the police and fire academies. We will be able to make the grants that were promised to these community and student supporting groups like the libraries. The rec centers will stay open. All of those budget items that were promised will be fulfilled.
And then for the tax increase, is that just to pay for the future years?
Yes, so we will have to do a supplement or a tax increase in excess of the cap for next year, for fiscal 26. So I'll introduce my budget in April, as is the same traditional timeline, and when that is introduced, we will know exactly how much additional tax revenue we'll be seeking, but it is certain to be over the 4% property tax cap. And so we will be going to the General Assembly for approval of that, and I will be requesting the City Council provide us a resolution in support of that cap increase. It is our plan that we will only have to do that once. That will be a one-time in excess of the cap for fiscal 26, which is next fiscal year.
Are we still looking to get the schools back to Providence control?
We are still advocating to bring the schools back as soon as possible. The City Council, the school board, and I are unified in that front. We know that the K-12 Board of Education had said up to 3 years. That would be 27. That's the outer edge, but we're still trying to bring that back earlier, and I would like them back as soon as possible.
Now, when would the school district see their first amount of new money coming in?
Can you ask that again?
When will the school district get a check from the city?
The agreement, which is available online, provides for the first payment in 5 days. So they'll be receiving, I'm sorry, so the City Council has to approve the settlement, and the payment comes 5 days after council approval.
And how much will that payment be?
$5 million is the first payment. But again, you can reference the entire agreement is available online and linked in the joint press release that went out. I'm sorry, Olivia.
What else is the city trying to do to get the schools back into its hands?
So in addition to our public advocacy, there certainly has been discussion amongst legislative leaders to try to bring the takeover to conclusion. The city, and this has been part of the dilemma, we don't actually get to decide when the takeover is over. It's the commissioner's recommendation to the K-12 board, which they then ratify in a vote. That has happened. The only way to force that to end faster is through legislative action or to continue to make the case publicly that the commissioner and the K-12 board might decide to end it sooner. I find it a good sign that when they passed that order in September, they didn't say 3 years, they said up to 3 years. And so in addition to public advocacy, it's also demonstrating that we're ready. And so that's why we've been hard at work. The city convened what we're calling the Return to Local Control Cabinet a year ago. And we have been hard at work. This hasn't just been pounding the table, but also doing the work to make sure that we're ready to take our schools back.
You've been advocating for increased transparency when it comes to the school department's budget. Have you made any progress on that ground?
Yes, one of the components of the agreement that was ordered by the court based upon our request is that there be a fiscal review of the school department's budget. That has been agreed upon, and that will commence very soon.
A lot of back and forth between the district and the city. I imagine there has to be some sort of relief in getting this done in the end, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this has been a real, the negotiating process has been very stressful and very hard on everyone involved. There were more than a few moments where teachers, literally moms and kids, would come up to me and say, Mayor, like, I don't care whose fault it is. Just figure it out. Can't all the adults get in the room and just figure it out? And I'm very sympathetic to that message. And honestly, that mother who said that to me was right. And so it wasn't easy, but the adults got in a room and we finally figured it out. And so it is a great relief that that chapter is now closed, and that now we can all focus on what's most important, which is how to improve outcomes for these kids and their families.
Some members of the General Assembly representing Providence have already said they will not support a tax increase over the cap. They want you to find pilot payments or other ways to fund this. What's your response to them?
I'll make my case to any member of the General Assembly, whether they're from Providence or not, that this is a necessary step. Now, I won't be putting all of this new funding on the shoulders of taxpayers in Providence. I understand that families are strained. This means higher property taxes, it means higher rents, it means higher cost of business. And so it's not fair to put that exclusively on them. And so it will be matched with cuts and fiscal restraint and belt tightening in city government. We are going to share this burden, but it's important that we properly fund our schools. And most of the constituents that I've spoken to are very willing to pay more taxes for better schools. This is an appropriate and important use of tax dollars. They want to know that the money is being well spent, that there's transparency about how that money is being spent, and that there's hope that there's going to be better outcomes for additional money. That's our job to help make sure that happens. But I feel confident that I can make the case that this tax increase will be justified and warranted and well spent on behalf of the kids in Providence.
Mayor, what do you say to the small business community? What message would you like to give to them, particularly on this part of town where the impact can be disproportionate?
It is true that the business community will bear some of the burden of this, but it is also true that the business community has a stake in excellent public schools. People want to live in a community that has excellent public schools. People want to shop in a community that has excellent public schools. Employers want to move to a community that has excellent public schools. And so their interests and ours are the same, which is that we all want great schools that we can be proud of, and we're going to have to pay for that. And so as I've always done, will try to balance the burden, and I will not put it exclusively on businesses as opposed to homeowners. We will share that burden, and I will also show that we are leading by example and making cuts and sacrifices in city government so that they're not just continuing to pay more and more and more, and that it's all on them.
Mayor, how long is the fiscal review expected to take? And then second part of the question is, what happens if you find something that you consider egregious?
So we expect the review to take about a month. And now that we have settled on the funding, what we hope in our relationship broadly, from the fiscal review and beyond, is that now we can actually work in a collaborative fashion and move forward. Every time, I never doubted that the other leaders involved, state and district leaders, we all cared about the kids, we all cared about the families, but it was impossible to ever get past this funding conversation. It always came back to funding. So now that that is resolved, with certainty and predictability for the next 3 years, we can finally start working together on all of these other things. So they agreed willingly to the fiscal review, and I take that as a sign that they're also going to work collaboratively with us on whatever might be discovered.
Mayor, do you expect to have some type of outreach to the financial community to develop a conversation and potentially impact on bond ratings?
I don't believe that this is going to negatively impact our bond ratings. We have and will continue to be transparent with the ratings agencies. They know about things like ongoing litigation. Their concern is that we continue to run a financially responsible budget. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I'm seeking a tax increase, because borrowing to pay a bill or not doing things like fully funding our pension obligation are fiscally irresponsible. The bond rating agencies aren't going to give us a demerit for raising taxes. They're going to give us a demerit for having a structural deficit. And so that's why I have and will continue to be fiscally responsible, even if it means a broader burden for some of our taxpayers.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.